Welcome back to another episode of Tech Talks, where we dive deep into the latest innovations in the tech world and explore tools that can enhance your development experience. Today, we're discussing VSCli, a command line interface that makes launching Visual Studio Code and its dev containers a breeze. But don't worry if you're not a command line whiz. By the end of this episode, you'll feel right at home. So what exactly is VSCli? Well, it's a nifty tool that simplifies the process of launching projects in Visual Studio Code, especially when they involve dev containers. You might be asking, what's a dev container? In essence, dev containers provide a consistent development environment, encapsulating all the dependencies and configurations you need to work on your project without any hassle. Now, VSCli isn't just for die-hard VSCode fans. It also supports various editors, including Cursor and some VSCode forks. It detects if your project is set up with a dev container and automatically launches it. How cool is that? It's like having a personal assistant for your coding environment. Imagine this. You're working on a project and need to jump between different dev containers. Instead of fumbling through settings or searching for the right commands, vscli allows you to streamline this process with some simple commands. Let's talk about installation because getting started should be easy, right? There are several ways to install vscli depending on your OS. If you're on Windows, you can use Cargo, Homebrew, or Chocolatey. For Linux and Mac users, Homebrew does the trick too. It's just a single command, brew install michidk/tools/vscli. Simple as that. Once you have vscli installed, you can start using commands like vscli open to launch your projects. And get this, if you have recently worked on something, you can use vscli recent to pull up a list of those projects through a cool interactive UI. Now, if you're a bit more advanced and want to customize your commands, vscli gives you the flexibility to do just that. You can set launch behaviors with the -behavior flag, allowing you to decide if you want to force open a dev container or launch the classic version of VSCode. For instance, if you're certain about wanting to work with a dev container, you can type vscli open-behavior force container to bypass any detection. And have you found yourself needing to pass extra arguments to your editor? No problem. Just specify them after dash. It really opens up a world of possibilities. When it comes to selecting recently used projects, vscli is just as effective. Imagine you're in a rush and you need to jump back into your last project. Instead of scrolling through folders and files, you just run vscli recent, and voila, you're presented with the projects you've worked on recently. Let's not forget the key bindings. With simple commands like enter to open a selected project or esc to quit the application, vscli keeps the user experience fluid and intuitive. Before we wrap up, here's something to think about. How often do you switch between different environments when working on various projects? Would a tool like vscli make a difference in how you manage your workflows? Well, that's all for today's episode. We've uncovered just how much of a game changer vscli can be for developers, both old and new. Remember, with tools like this, coding doesn't have to be a cumbersome task. It can be clean, efficient, and hopefully even a bit fun. If you enjoyed this episode, don't forget to share it with your fellow devs. Until next time, keep coding and stay curious.